Welcome back to another episode of the Cruise Conversations podcast. I'm Michael.
And I'm Frank.
And today's episode is episode number 82. And we're sitting down with the Cruising Bear to talk about his recent Virgin voyage. Let's jump into it.
Well, we're back with the Cruising Bear. We call it, I think my mom was offended because she was on the podcast last week and she's like, "Oh, you got a special guest and it's the Cruising Bear? What about me?" And I was like, "Yeah, you're right. You are a special guest, Mom, and also Jeremy is a special guest. So shout out Jeremy, the Cruising Bear. Make sure that you follow him on social media. Jeremy is a great friend now in the cruising community, and we're just excited that we've gotten to do so many podcasts with you. But Jeremy, welcome back to the podcast.
Hey, thanks for having me back. I'm more excited than you are to be here, than I'm here. So I love doing it. I'm having a good time.
We'll just keep booking cruises and we can keep having you on. You know how it works. But we are going to do like a two-part kind of series over the next couple of weeks. The first episode today is going to be talking about your Virgin cruise. You did a 5-night cruise to Cozumel and Bimini. And then we'll kind of jump into the Sun Princess. You got to test out their brand new ship this year. And you did a 7-night you went back to the same ports that you always go to, man. What's going on?
The deal was the deal, and I had to take it.
Okay, all right. So you followed the deals. That's fair. But you went back to Cozumel again. So you went to Cozumel twice in 2 weeks, and then you also hit, I believe it was Belize and Honduras, correct, on that one?
Correct.
Okay, so we'll save that for next week. But this week we're gonna dive right into the Virgin 5-night cruise. So you guys live in Texas. Who did you actually travel with on this one, Jeremy?
So this one, my cruising party got changed kind of late. So I ruined my brother-in-law. My son and his fiance went, and then we had a friend of ours that's a couple go as well.
So you flew into Miami, I would imagine, at least the night before, right? Did you guys stay in downtown Miami, spend the night before? Like, what did you guys do kind of pre-cruise? Any recommendations for those that may be going down to Miami for a Virgin cruise or any other cruise?
We always fly in the day before, and we always get an Airbnb. There were supposed to be 5 of us. It ended up only being 3. We got a place that had 3 beds. It always works out cheaper, especially if you have multiple people. It's cheaper accommodation to have an Airbnb that sleeps everybody than it is to have 2 or 3 hotel rooms. We always pick one out that's somewhere between the airport and the cruise port. We got in, kind of midday. Went and had it was middle of college football season, so we went and watched some games and ate somewhere down. I can't remember where we went. We went down Miami Beach somewhere, had some good food, watched some games, came back to the room.
Awesome. Well, that sounds like a good time at pre-cruise in Miami. Now, let's kind of talk about the embarkation process, right? So this wasn't your first Virgin cruise, but we've talked about in the past, they do their embarkation a little bit differently, It's a little bit of a later disembark and a later embarkation. How was your embarkation on this Virgin sailing?
Very smooth. Last time we had that big storm shut the port down. So it was a nightmare, the entire port. This time, no storm, no cruise, no port shut down. But since you still check in later, our checkout time was 10 o'clock. We taken the Uber over to the port. Virgin makes it real easy. You can drop your bags off before and then you check in.
Yeah.
So we got there about 10:30. We dropped our bags. You check in, you get your band. And then there's a tram multiple trams that run around Miami, go all different places. It leaves right next to the Virgin port and goes to, the Bayside Harbor, right around our Bayside marketplace, right across the street. So we took that, little 5-minute trolley ride, jump off there, and then we just hang out. You hang out at Bayside Marketplace, kill a couple hours, then take an Uber right back over. And we showed up about 10 minutes after our time, walked right through the line. We already checked in, go up the escalator, through security, walked around the ship. Maybe 10 minutes total. It was really easy.
Is it weird not getting on the ship at like the normal 10:30, 11? Like, is it just kind of, because I feel like my first time on Virgin, it's going to be an adjustment, right? Because like first thing you get on board, you kind of get like a brunch, lunch kind of set up when you're on there really early, but it's a different vibe, right? Joining the ship, later in the afternoon. Like, do you kind of like wish that they adopted the other? Because I guess you'd reap the benefit of that on the last day. You get to stay on a little bit later. But me personally, I just like to get on and off really quick. But I don't know what you think, Jeremy.
It's honestly not that much later, actually, when you're getting off. I mean, it's a little bit later, but it's not like you're getting off at noon. They're still kicking people
Okay.
off at like at 10, 11 o'clock. So some stragglers get you off, a little bit later. But I do wish you could get on a little earlier. It's nice having the little trolley heads because otherwise it'd be kind of a mess carrying your bags around. Being able to drop your bags off early is a big plus. But it is. I mean, some people show up at 2, 3 o'clock anyway, so
Yeah.
I guess it's not that big of a deal. But it feels like it robbed you a couple hours, I guess.
All right, so last time you sailed Virgin, you sailed Scarlet Lady, right?
Yes.
Now, did you notice like any differences overall this time with the embarkation day, or even just like boarding in general since the last time you cruised with them?
No, because even with the with the storm and the shutdown last time, it really wasn't that much of a difference. Once we got inside, it's a very smooth process. It's like I said, it's gorgeous inside there. It's a really nice. They have places to lay down, and it's a nice place. So you get through there, you just go right into the check in, go right through security, you walk right on board. It's I haven't had a chance to sit down not one time at their in their port. So both processes once you get inside is super smooth.
So you got on board Valiant Lady. What was the first thing that you did when you got on board?
So I was with some people who hadn't been on before. And first thing we did, it was a little too early for muster. We tried to do muster, but it was a little too early. But it's weird that they don't have muster set up right away, but they don't. So we went right to the dock and 7 aft there. It's a beautiful outdoor spot. Got a place, got a few drinks. I ran around the corner to get some pizza. Came back, we ate. It's kind of crazy in the galleys. The galley is their version of the buffet, and you know how buffet is an embarkation day. It gets kind of hectic. So we kind of avoided that, sat out there, enjoyed it. It was warm out there. We sat there for about 45 minutes, eating, talking, having some drinks, and then I got a text saying our room was ready. So my son went to his room. He checked it out. It was ready. So we went off to the rooms.
All right, so speaking of your room now, I know you had a balcony for this sailing. How did this balcony compare to some of the other balconies you've been on other cruise lines?
I really like the Virgin balcony, the Virgin rooms. The beds are a little on the firm side. They can be people. Some people complain about it, and they're not the softest. They're not. It's not where you can't sleep, but it's a little firm. But I really like the layout. I like the space. It feels very comfortable. Of course, they have the hammock on the balcony, and that's always a game changer. The tablet to control everything in the room. It's a nice feature. It's the lights, the AC, the movies and everything. It works really well. It's my brother-in-law went with me. He was very impressed with it. He thought it was very nice. We had a balcony. On certain cruise ships there are places that jut out and come in, and you know occasionally you can find a room with a bigger balcony or a slightly bigger room than normal, and that's what we did here. We got a balcony that was, I'd say, about 40% larger than a normal balcony. Being, like I said, being an agent, you can kind of look and see what's available a lot easier. You can kind of see what kind of rooms they are. You have a little more knowledge. So I look for this room, these styles of rooms on every cruise I'm on, and so it's a big balcony. Yeah, but it's I would say again 40% bigger than every other 40-50% bigger than other balconies. So it's a nice feature.
Yeah, I've definitely heard the same kind of feedback, Jeremy, on the beds being like really, really firm compared to other lines. But from what you said, it sounds like you can still sleep in it. You're only on the ship for like 5 to 7 days, so it's not like you're living there. As long as you get good rest, I feel like that's all that matters. So what did you guys end up doing for sail away?
We had dinner reservations at Pink Agave. So we kind of missed sail away. It was actually sailed away while we were at dinner, which is kind of one of those things where when you board late, you leave a little later. Virgin's one of the later ships getting out usually. You kind of miss a sail away if you have an early dinner, and we normally eat dinner early so we can have our nightlife. You don't have to stop partying and go eat dinner and then go back out partying, or you can eat a big dinner then hang out a little while and drink comfortably later on. So we went and ate, obviously a great dinner at Pink Agave as always. And then we checked out some music, walked around the ship, had some drinks. We got far enough out, hit the casino, and then we just kind of waited around for the PJ party to start.
Awesome. And now, kind of speaking of dinner reservations, right? You said you made them for Pink Agave. Is this something you can do before you get on the cruise, or did you do this day one once you got on the ship?
You do it on the app. As an agent, they can do it for you if they don't want to do it on the app. There are limitations. Like you can't book Pink Agave every night. If you love Pink Agave, you can only book it one time. The app will not let you book it multiple times. They want everybody to experience everything. So if you only like two restaurants, you're only going to book two dinners, and you're going to get on the ship and see where you can get in, where you can fit in. We did do Pink Agave twice. Me and my brother-in-law went the last night. We kind of just walked up right when they started, hoping they had an open reservation. We got to sit at the bar and we ate dinner there. But Yeah, you cannot make multiple reservations for the same place on their app. They make sure it says on there we want everybody to be able to experience it. We don't want to take up all the reservations. So
Gotcha. Well, that's good to know, especially for us, Frank, with clients in the future.
Yeah.
Because and that's even like once you're on the ship, Jeremy. Like I know you said beforehand, you can only book it once, but once you're on the ship, you still can't book through the app. Like you said, you'd have to go to the restaurant and actually try and check in there.
exactly right.
Awesome. Well, so it sounds like you had a good first night. I'm guessing the PJ party went good.
PJ party was awesome.
Do you buy like special PJs for these cruises, or what's your vibe,
I was
Jeremy?
planning on going shorts and a cruising bear shirt, but a friend of mine bought me and my son and a friend the same PJ pants, so I just wore that and a shirt, and we hung out there for a little while.
Dude, that's awesome. So your first stop on board this cruise, you went back to Cozumel. So obviously you're probably like one of the experts in Cozumel cruising. You live in that area in Galveston, near Galveston, so you get to go a lot.
Pretty much lives in Cozumel.
Pretty
You
much.
pretty much are like you're a native Cozumel man. No, but what did you guys get into this time?
Yeah, this was like my 11th or 12th time to Cozumel. It was kind of annoying, but we had plans to go to Sancho's. But we were looking at the weather and we saw high winds. I mean, like sustained 20-mile-an-hour winds, gusts up to 40. And it just did not seem like a good time. And sure enough, the winds, it was true. The winds stayed that way. Almost everybody got their excursions canceled. No one did snorkeling. No one did dives. No one did anything. Obviously, nothing that had something to do with the air. So we ended up getting off, just shopping around. My brother-in-law. So Virgin comes in. There's three ports in Cozumel. There's one further downtown. So my brother-in-law and I, we got off. We walked around. We shopped, and then if you head further in town, there's a little square there, shopping and restaurants. And we went through there, we sat down. I was gassed. It's not a short walk, but it's not a long walk. And we just kind of sat there and enjoyed the day a little bit, then turned around and came back. Shopped, got some things, hit the pharmacia, and then headed back to the ship because that night was Scarlet Night. So
There you go. Scarlet Night, you got to get the liver ready. You got to get, the energy ready for the big night you get to bring out. What do you normally wear for Scarlet Night, Jeremy?
I have a couple red shirts. So there's been some how should I say? There's been some argument whether my shirt is red enough or orange. It's red. Someone else says it's orange. I won't name names. I wore that. I don't. It's my first time. The first time I didn't go Scarlet Night. The very first cruise we didn't go to Scarlet Night. I did. I wanted to make sure we did it this time, and it was a fun experience, except for the wind. Like the wind kind of ruined it.
Yeah, I could see the wind, being out there in the middle of the ocean.
Some days, like on a sea day, you don't even want to be out by the pool because it's so windy. So I definitely feel that.
Yeah, coming back from Cosmo with the high winds, and then plus the ship's going, and it was just. I mean, it was. I mean, opening doors was hard to do. People, I mean, all the ladies' hairs were all over the place. I mean, it was actually kind of a nightmare. Eventually the party moves by the pool, and it just kind of ruined it for us. It was it was a downer, man. I was kind of bummed out. We ended up. I mean, you couldn't hear anybody talking. The wind was so loud, you could barely hear the music. It felt like it was just uncomfortable. It was cold because the wind was blowing too hard. It wasn't even cold outside, but it was with that much wind when it's like honestly like 40 mile an hour winds nonstop. It's just not fun. So we called it an early night.
Gotcha. Well, all right. So you got some rest this night. Your next day was in Bimini. Now, you've been to the beach club at Bimini before. And one thing to kind of note here, this cruise you went on was in December, right? And I think a lot of people, if you haven't cruised in December, January, February, your first idea may be, oh, well, it's cold that time of year, right? But you're down in the Caribbean. I mean, and like you said, you can have some gorgeous weather still in the wintertime in the Caribbean. So kind of tell us about your day in Bimini and how the weather was.
So out of all the Caribbean places, the Bahamas gets the coldest water. You can get some really cold water, especially when you get in January, February. You can get some cold water in the Bahamas. Once you get farther south, we've been to Cozumel in February, and it was cold, but not cold enough to keep you out of the water. Just nice and it's fairly cool. As long as you get a warm day, you're fine. When you go further south in Cozumel, it's pretty much you can swim any day. But it was luckily warm, and the water was still warm enough. The last time we were there, it was cold and windy, which was it was like 2 weeks later than we went this time. So it was cold and windy. We went there. It wasn't a great experience. No one got in the water. There was nobody swimming in the pool. Nobody swimming in the ocean. Very different this time. When you get off, you get the tram. The tram takes you down, the long way, the long gangway, all the way down to the island. It stops right there where the excursions are. Stops by a little casino, and then it takes you over to the private beach club. I would suggest if you're going on a pretty day for sure to get there early to get some chairs. If you don't have a cabana rented, to get some chairs with an umbrella. They can go fast, and you end up being stuck without an umbrella. You got people trying to steal chairs and move them around, and steal umbrellas and move them around. It's kind of annoying, but the people that get there late, they kind of left out a little bit. But we got there, we ate. We waited around a little bit, ate right when the food came out. Good food, some jerk chicken, some corn on the cobs. It was good food. The Wi-Fi is the same as on the ship, so you connect automatically. Your wristband, so if you have onboard credit or you're charging your card, you just pay the same way. Um, we ended up getting in the water. There were some jellyfish, a couple spots you might have to move around. No one really got in any trouble with that. There were some on the beach, so make sure you don't pick those up. But the water was cold when you first got in. About 2 minutes in, you're used to it. We hung out there. It was a nice warm day, beautiful one, beautiful weather, beautiful water. We hung out there for a while. Around noon, we kind of 11 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, we packed up. We went back to where the excursions are. It's like a little, I wouldn't call it a town, but there's shops, and it's just dead. It's a ghost town. There's not a lot to do in Bimini.
Yeah, so I have a question. So I know we're talking about we're going to be on a cruise in the next couple of weeks, and I'm trying to sell them on doing Hideaway because it's got like the heated pools, which is really nice. Like the main pool at Coco Cay is not heated, but then the beach club and Hideaway has the heated pools. Is the pool at the Bimini Beach Club heated or no?
No.
Okay. Okay. Because yeah, that does it is nice in the winter time because it just takes that chill out of it.
Yeah.
Because it could be 70 degrees and you're like, I'm not really feeling hot enough to get in, but it is nice when it's a little warm. So, no, it sounds like you guys made the most of the day at Bimini. Anything else you wanted to add about the food or anything else around just being at the beach club?
No, not really. Like I said, it's a big place. There's a lot of places to sit. There's poolside stuff. There's cabanas you can rent. There's a lot of seating on the beach. It gets pretty packed. There's a couple thousand people going down there because it's not, like I said, there's not a lot to do in Bimini. So there's a couple thousand people going down there. So it can get a little busy. So just get there a little early, get your spot. Have a good time. It's a party atmosphere.
And I think that's a good transition. You said big crowds. So let's kind of talk about your sea days. Like you said, you've sailed Virgin before, so you kind of knew what to expect when it came to kind of the crowds on the ship. How about this time? Did it feel kind of the same as last time? And what did your typical sea day look like?
Yeah, and like I said, there's only like 20. I think it's 2,800 or around that. It's not a lot of people on board. The ship's not huge, so I mean, it's not you don't find a lot of crowds there. I mean, I wouldn't call it like big crowds. You find little small crowds, wait in line for a few minutes here or there. It's not real bad. Our typical sea day was, well, we had brunch a couple days. They have an arcade there. It's a free arcade, so we went and played a lot of NBA Jam.
It looks awesome.
We did some trivia. You ate some pizza, hang around. There's a lot of places to nice and relax. We'll go to the casino, gamble some. Go to the dock in the back, find some spot up by the pool. Just a lot of beautiful places to sit around and hang out. You can do little. They have things. They have puzzle challenges. They have trivia. They have little things like that during the day. You find something where you just relax.
Did you guys end up using the pools? I know that's kind of one of the main kind of complaints with Virgin is it's not large pools, right? Compared to some of these large other ships that you've been on. Did you guys end up getting in the pool or did you kind of stay clear of all that?
No, I generally don't get in the pools on any ship, honestly, during sea days because you know how it is. It's elbow to elbow out there. It's hard to get a spot. So I just I don't want to be crowded. You can't really get a spot. Everybody wants to be in the sun. Everybody wants to be by the water. So I generally kind of avoid that.
Awesome. Well, let's move into some of the dining you did on this sailing. When we've had you on the podcast after your first Virgin sailing, you had good comments to say about the food and how it was some of the best at sea. How does it kind of compare now? Like you said, you're probably a year or so removed from your last Virgin sailing. Does a lot of these venues still kind of live up to the hype of when the line first launched?
They do. Didn't drop it. Didn't drop it all. Wonderful. We didn't eat Test Kitchen. Test Kitchen it's a different kind of menu. It's very limited in what they offer. It's either this or that, this or that. If you don't really like what they are, it's kind of a longer dining experience. It's kind of I wouldn't call it a waste, but if you're not a little adventurous in what you eat, it's probably not for you. We didn't do Gun Bay. We didn't really like the menu. someone in our party tried to go. It was just the two of them. They it's almost hibachi style. You know, it's a round table. They have a little space in front of you where they heat the meat, but they sit you with strangers if you don't have enough for a full table. They didn't want to do that, so they kind of shied away from it. We did do pink agave. We did extra virgin. We did the wake. We did a razzle dazzle. So and those places all were very very good. We ate dinner at one of those places every night. We did not eat dinner at the galley at all.
Did you go to the Lick Me ice cream place?
Lick me to ice cream. I did do it like 4 times. Honestly,
That's awesome.
I eat pizza almost every day. They have a nice little. If you've been to Mod Pizza, it's kind of the same kind of a deal.
Oh,
They
nice.
kind of make it how you want it, and you wait around for it to be done. They give you a little buzzer. It's a nice little experience. It's good pizza. So
The ice cream, the fact that it's free and it's like actually good ice cream,
yeah,
like it's not like 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 every cruise line has like the poolside, what is it, soft serve ice cream, but this is like gourmet. Like I don't even know how to describe. Like it's so good. It looks so good.
yeah, they have different flavors. They had like a jalapeno flavor on one of them, which I did not try. But yeah, I mean
Ooh,
they
interesting.
scoop it
You
out,
would
put it
like
on a
that.
Yeah,
cone.
I think I would try it.
Yeah, yeah, they have different flavor cones. You can get it in a cup. It's as far as ice cream goes at sea, it's hard to beat. They do food right there. Honestly, that's for me. That's their top selling point is their food.
Let's say you were to like, for me and Michael, let's say we've never been on Virgin, but you could bring us a dining experience from one of these places, like just without us having to book the cruise. Which one would you say is like the best, like you wouldn't want to miss? Is it pink agave for you, or which one would you say is the one that like you pretty much can't miss?
The first time I would have said a pink agave, but after going again, I would probably say extra virgin, which is the Italian
Okay.
place.
Okay.
But it's real tight. And honestly, right behind that is the wake because the wake is really good too. And I really enjoy Razzle Dazzle as well.
He's like every single one now.
Not as it's not as good as them, but either pink agave or extra virgin I think are very top for me.
Okay. Now, you'd mentioned how you never ate at the galley for dinner. Where did you find yourself eating for like breakfast and lunch around the ship? Did you find yourself here at the galley more, or what did you end up doing for these meals?
Well, so they offer brunches at the Wake and at Razzle Dazzle. I did we did twice at the Wake for our brunches because I love steak and eggs, and it's I've had steak and eggs. I had steak and eggs on Carnival one time, and I felt like I was chewing gum. So I will never do that again. They have real good steak. It was great. They let you get double portions, so I got double portion steak and eggs both times. They have it's a smaller menu, but it's really well done. So yeah, if I could have done the wake every morning for breakfast, I would have done that.
Wait, that's you bring up a good point, right? So like is most of the dining like you order one entree and kind of one appetizer? Like we were talking about this on like one of the recent episodes where I think MSC was charging you for like an extra in the dining room. Like, do they kind of limit you, or can you say I really want to try like 3 entrees, 3 apps? How does that work on Virgin?
You can get every single thing on the menu if you want. You can
I
order.
like that.
I ate something. It was so good. She goes, "Do you want more?" I was like, "Yeah." She brought me another plate. They offered it to me. They didn't wait for me to ask. So it was the pork belly at Razzle Dazzle.
All right, so now let's talk about service. I feel like the service on board is always amazing on every cruise. Did you have any issues or anything that you had to work with customer service or guest services with? Was there anything that like stood out to you in terms of the crew this time, or was it pretty much standard based on your experiences on other lines as well?
Virgin service is very very good. They are very good. We went to I had to go to guest services when we got there. When you have an MNVV, all the the sailor loot all goes to one person. You have to go to sailor services. They end up linking them. So everybody everything in the second room, the second person in the room, everything they do gets charged to you. So if you have a lot of sailor loot that bar tab, it all gets linked to that one person. So they can't split it. They end up just linking them to you. So we had to go do that. Very easy, very helpful. They understood it completely. They didn't give us any guff about it. I went. We did go to the future cruise place. I did buy a couple MMBVs. I sold one to a customer already. So the guy that worked there, he was super helpful. Every time we needed help with anything, very nice.
And Jeremy, can you just explain for maybe a listener who doesn't know what an MNVV is?
So MNVV is a My Next Virgin Voyage. They've changed a little bit over the years, but as of right now, you get on there, you pay $300 for this MNVV. That automatically is a deposit on a cruise, and think you have like 2 years or a year and a half, whatever, to book it. And when you book it, depending on the length, you get, 100, 150, $200 off your cruise, and it gives you extra onboard credit for it. So it's if you know you're going to sail Virgin again, if it's such a good experience, you're like, I'm definitely going again. You don't have to book it right there. If you know you're going within the next 2 years, I would absolutely buy an MNVV. They take it, it goes on your account, and then whenever you're ready, you just call, turn that into a regular booking. It gives you a discount on your booking. That $300 goes right towards your booking as your deposit, and then it gives you extra money to spend on board next time.
Yeah, that's kind of like their like loyal because they don't have like a true loyalty program quite yet, right? This is kind of how they're
They just started their loyalty program. They're just starting it, and they just started their casino program as well.
yeah, the casino program seems like it's going to be good. I've seen that.
It is a casino program where either you have to gamble big amounts or you have to sail multiple times in a year to make sure you hit the thing. It's like 5,000 points for the very first level.
Well, obviously, when we talk about add-ons, Virgin does include a lot in their base fare, like Wi-Fi, fitness classes, gratuities. You've got a lot of different things, like the drinks. When you want to talk about sodas and all that, but is there any other add-ons that, like, spa treatments or any other activities on board that you paid for a la carte? And how were those items if you did pay for any of them?
I did not. I had a friend of mine who did. Right, he got a thermal day, and he was underwhelmed. He said it was small. The thermal tubs or whatever you want to call them, the whirlpools. He said the one that was barely warm. He said it was packed. There's hardly any room to sit down in them because they're small. So he said he would not do that again. Actually, stopped me from booking one, so I didn't do it. I don't know if it was specific to this one ship, this one time, but it was enough for me to be like, not a big deal. I'm not going to do that. They have little things like the grog walk or tastings you can pay extra for. Though they're great. We did one the first time. Someone in our party, I think, did a grog walk on this one. It's a very social experience. They foster that. They force you to interact with other people. A lot of these things. You don't just go and kind of sit in the back on some of them. They like the grog walk. They almost make you interact with somebody else. They give you, you pay $50 or whatever, and you get like 12 drinks or 8 drinks or whatever. So it's a good value, and they do a good job of making sure it's going to be a good time for you. But we did not do any of that on this one.
Yeah, I forget. Is the grog walk kind of like a bar crawl type thing, or how does that work again?
Yeah, it's a bar crawl.
Well, sweet. Let's kind of talk about entertainment. And there's something I want to hear about this time. A couple episodes ago, we did the build your own ship, right?
Yeah.
And you could only use each cruise line once. And for Virgin, I chose dual reality. And I think you kind of were making fun of me a little for this option. I mean, because obviously we didn't know much about this show. So tell me, did you get to see dual reality, and how was it?
On my build a cruise ship, I chose dual reality, and
Oh, okay,
I
there we
went
go.
again, and I love it. It was
Okay.
fun watching like there's some spots in there that'll make you gasp. It's a Le style show at points. It's really fun. There were some parts the first time I know I gasped at. I was like, oh wow. And then watching my son or some friends watching their faces during it was really cool. It was just as good this time as it was the first time. So it was a different crew. They just do a really good job.
And what type of, like, if you could describe the show, how would you describe it?
The show was I guess you call it a version of Romeo and Juliet. A lot of acrobatics. I wouldn't call it. There's no dance. There's no singing. There's some monologue. There's some music being played, but there's no singing. It's not a musical or anything. A lot of acrobatics. A lot of like I said, a little bit of the Cirque style. You know, some it's fun. It's unique. And I tell you, when I go again, I'm going to definitely see it again. I wouldn't mind seeing it twice on a cruise.
You did good, Michael. What about some of the other entertainment, right? So you had, live music, you had maybe some comedy. I don't know if Virgin does a big comedy show on their ships. But yeah, how was the rest of it besides dual reality on board? How did you feel like it compared to kind of the lineups that you've seen on Norwegian, Princess, Celebrity, etc.?
I didn't really see a comedy show on there. They may have done a comedy, but I didn't see one. I like live music, sitting down drinking, having a good time. I've made it known that the Prima and NCL was probably the best live music cruise I've ever been on. Everywhere we went, every place, great music, great variety. So this was disappointing, and the musicians weren't bad. The musicians were actually very good musicians. Wasn't my style. There was a soul band. I was excited to go see soul and R&B. They're, I thought they were playing older songs, maybe Motown stuff. I went and they played original hits, and they weren't bad. They just weren't for me, and I don't want to really go on there and listen to some band's original hits on my cruise. So
Yeah.
not for that style of music, at least. There's a Latin trio, and again, very good musicians. They did very, very good at what they did. But I'm not a big Latin music fan, so it was lost on me. And there's a solo artist, and she was very good, but she does renditions of songs that didn't really fit my style or what I liked. Even songs I liked, I didn't like how she did them. So I was disappointed. It kind of took away from the cruise for me, and not anything Virgin did wrong. It just kind of didn't match up with my likes. I had to I was really looking forward to doing that a lot this one, and I didn't really do that. I had a lot more onboard credit. I was looking to drink and have a good time doing that, so it was kind of a downer.
Was the like previous cruise you went on? Do you remember if it was better in that category of like live music and entertainment?
So I listened. We got a little bit, and I think there was a different band there that played, just regular hits that everybody knows. Um, but we didn't do a lot of that. We spent a lot more time in the casino and doing some other stuff. So I don't remember quite as much about the music on the one before that.
I feel like Virgin Jeremy has like this I guess notion that it's like the adults that want to be kids party vibe, like you know what I mean, like people are scared to try Virgin because they think that it's just more of a party experience on board. Can you talk about how, after two cruises, kind of what your take is on this? Who is this cruise line good for? I guess this is kind of going more into like closing thoughts, but I'm just curious because as it relates to entertainment and kind of the vibe on board, if you will, yeah, what are your thoughts on that?
Honestly, there were quite a few. I would call them elderly customers on there. I mean, all age groups from people who look like they were. My son's 22, his girlfriend's 21, his fiance's 21. I saw some people who looked like they're in their 80s having a great time. It is a bit more of an open and party atmosphere. It is not for everybody. It is probably for most people. I don't know. It's tough. The nightlife is vibrant. I mean, the club, the nightclub they have. It's a very nice nightclub. It's big. You got upstairs and downstairs. It's fun. I went in there one night for a little bit, kind of just wandering around. I didn't stay because I was by myself, and it's not real fun. But the pajama party is. I guess I could see why people would want to do it if you don't like crowds, you don't like big parties like that. I guess if you're not a big party person, it might take away some from you. But we went to the PJ party. It was great. Scarlet Night was fun. If you want to sit around and you like listening to music and you like having some drinks and talking with your friends, it's for you.
Well, all the parties sounded like they were a great time, and now obviously this cruise had to come to an end. How was the disembarkation process this time in Miami?
It was easy. So my party, they got off and walked off, no problem. Got off fairly easy, just like I did last time. I was staying in the area. I had a cruise the next day, so I stayed on as long as they could. I was on there until they said, "Hey, you guys got to start leaving." So I went up to the galley. I kind of killed some time there eating, and then the time to get off, I got off, walked off quickly. Got downstairs, got off the ship, walked off, got on the tram, was ready to go.
Sweet. Let's wrap up now. Final thoughts. I know we've got you on for another episode next week for the Sun Princess review, but wrapping up Virgin, what would you say in terms of just overall thoughts, service, the dining on board, your room that you selected, the itinerary? How would you compare this? How would you stack it? Was it your favorite cruise of all time? Was it your least favorite cruise of all time? Was it somewhere in the middle, top 25%? How would you kind of rank it on your experiences? And yeah, are you planning on going on Virgin again? Are you like, the entertainment kind of, I'm going to stay away for a while? Or are you kind of like, I want to give it another chance?
Well, I would say the weather on Scarlet Night, the live music situation, some of the people I was with, retiring a little earlier. It's not fair to judge Virgin for those things. It's just kind of how some things worked out. So I'm not going to
Yeah.
hold it against Virgin. The experience is tailored for certain things, and it's hard to beat those certain things. A few things happened. Some people ended up not going, and the weather could have been better. And I still enjoyed it, but it could have been a lot more. I feel like had my original experience I booked gone through the way I was hoping it would. So I won't say it was my favorite ever. I won't say it was my least favorite ever. Middle of the road, had a good time, ate a lot of food, enjoyed my company, enjoyed everybody I went with. Obviously, I had a good time. It would not. I mean, nothing there would turn me off of Virgin. I have two more Virgins coming up next December. We're going out of San Juan on a 7 night on the Valiant Lady, the same room. Going to St. Kitts, St. Lucia, Dominica, Barbados, and St. Martin, and four of those are brand new stops for me. And then in 2026, we're going on the Brilliant Lady out of Los Angeles, and that goes to Cabo, Puerto Vallarta, and Mazatlan. So, and I got both those booked on MMVVs. So, you know, I still loved it enough to go. I wouldn't make it my only cruise line. Would like to do one a year, one every couple years. It's definitely a good experience.
Well, you're expanding out of Cozumel.
Yeah, let's
Thank
go.
God.
Trying some new places.
Cozumel, Nassau. I'm done with both Cozumel and Nassau. I don't want to go either one anymore.
Well, Jeremy, it's been fun having you on the podcast this week talking Virgin again. You know, the first time we had you on was actually your Virgin episode, and it's one of our most popular episodes to date. So It's been fun to talk Virgin again and kind of just hear how it's changed over time.
Jeremy, don't go too far because we're going to crank up another episode for next week. So if you're listening at home, in your car, on your way to work, whatever, stay tuned. We're having another episode come out next week with Jeremy to go over the Sun Princess. So don't go too far, Jeremy. We got to talk about that one. But if you're listening, thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Cruise Conversations podcast. Make sure you send us some questions for our question and answer segment. Maybe some of these we can even send over to the Cruising Bear to get him to answer as well, or do something on social media. Make sure you're following us along on social media as well at the Cruising Bear. You can follow Jeremy as well as at Cruise Conversations. So with that, thank you so much for watching and listening. We'll see you back here next Wednesday.